What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Miami Hurricanes air raid playbook in college football 25. This is the Shannon Dawson offense. He's been Mario Cristobal's offensive coordinator there for the last couple of seasons. He's an air raid guy through and through. You go back and look at his history. He's a big Dana Holgorsen disciple. His first coaching job was under Hal Mummy. I mean, it is air raid all the way. But what's interesting about this playbook is it's very simplistic. There's not a lot of plays. There's not a lot of anything. It's just really weird, but it's a good playbook. It's one of those to where you feel like you don't need 300 plus plays. You only barely need like 200, but it's got some really good stuff in it. We're going to go through it all. We're going to look at the formations and concepts and play types and personnel. And by the end of the video, hopefully you have a good idea of what this playbook is all about. So starting off, again, this is an air raid playbook. Think passing, a lot of the air raid staples, stick, mesh, smash, things of that nature, but in a smaller form per se, but with some different kinds of extra personnel groupings. So let's start off with formations. Now, the bulk of the playbook is shotgun, but what we're going to do first is look at pistol. We got two pistol formations. We got pistol wing, that is a 12 personnel look, and then we got wing slot. So when you go into these, you'll notice it's basic run play action like a lot of pistol plays or formations are in this game. Nothing too crazy, not a lot of air raid in here, but if you want to go quote unquote under center, want that vertical look, you can definitely do that with some of these plays. So you go over to wing slot. This is just the Twins version of pistol wing. And again, nothing too crazy. We do got a little mini series here. We got a little jet sweep and a pass and a zone off the top of that. But again, it's basically just run, play action, not a lot of air raid stuff. It got a little bit. See, there's Y stick. But other than that, just kind of know what to expect there. But if you need some 12 personnel, you could definitely do in pistol. But let's go to the shotgun. This is where the bulk of the playbook is at. And this is starting off with 12 personnel. So here's a little theme. You go to your pistol, you got pistol wing, and they got the wing slot. Well, you go to the gun, you got ace offset and wing slot offset. So it's kind of the same thing, but in gun form. So you go to ace offset. This is 12 personnel. Then we got wing slot offset, 12 personnel again. Then we get into our 11 personnel. The bulk of the playbook will be in 11 personnel, starting off with normal Y off, doubles Y off, doubles Y off weak. So these are 2x2 looks. Then you got Y off trips weak. Trips tight end offset week, and then we get into spread. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got about 11 personnel formations, but there's actually a little bit more than that in the gun. But then we're going to head over into our first 10 personnel look, and that is spread. This one has more plays than any other in the playbook in terms of formations. Got 21 total. So this is your 4 wide set, 2x2. You also got an offset version of that, 18 plays there. Then you got bunch wide. This is 10 personnel set. Actually, this is 11. Number 8 is your tight end. And then we get into trips. This is another 10 personnel set. We got 4 wide receivers that there are 15 plays, and then we got an offset version of that. So you kind of notice another little mini theme here. It's like we got our basic spread and we got an offset version of that. So you can use this for more, I guess, off tackle running, even though it's got inside zone, but you can also do this where your halfback can get a little bit more vertical in the run game. So we got a handful of 10 personnel looks, but we're not done. This is an 11 personnel set. This is empty base, 15 plays there. And that's it. That's the entire playbook. It's not very big, but we're going to go through here. And what I normally like to do is look for pre-snap motion mini-series, mini schemes. That way it gives you something to kind of work off of, give the defense a little window dressing to look at. Starting off with ace offset, we got a jet touch pass. And we got a flanker drive. That's a Z motion over here on the right. Do we have any more? Yes, we got another Z motion over here, Z spot. This is technically Y corner in the air raid world, kind of, sort of, kind of like a cousin. This is like a West Coast version of that. Then you go to wing slot offset. Do we have any pre-snap motion here? Yes, we do. We got I guess it's an H-back motion with the inside zone split. You got a PA slide and you got a counter on top of that. I'm going to do this counter, see if we can make this look halfway decent. And we'll go up against just something random here. Now they're bringing everybody and their brother on the right side. So this may not work, but I'm just going to show you here. Again, just a little window dressing if you want to throw a little counter in your run game there. But that's a nice little series you can put in right there. So you look at those other 2 plays we just looked at. right here. You got the zone split, the play action off of that would be really cool. And then we got more. We got some jet sweep action. This is your slot receiver. You got the jet sweep, you got a zone off of that, and play action on top of that. And you go over to normal Y off. Do we have any here? Yes, we got more slot jet sweep action. This time it's from your number 3 receiver. You got your jet touch pass, your power off of that. You got vertical, so fake jet halfback seam. Pay attention to that concept. You're going to see verticals a lot in this playbook, and I'm going to call something from here. We'll go get something random. So this is going to be a base passing concept in your playbook. I'll just go ahead and tell you now. We'll go over here. This guy's wide open. Going to get some real easy yardage there. Good play, but think verticals throughout this video, okay? So let's keep on going. We got some other things to look at. So here is some more jet sweep action. So you got 6 plays right here to really work with. They all just kind of work together, and this isn't even air raid stuff. You keep on going. You got doubles Y off. Guess what? More slot jet sweep action. Look at that. Fake jet halfback seam. That's that vertical concept. You got power. You got the fake zone on top of that. And you got more jet sweeps. So between this formation and that formation, you got a ton of jet sweep series to work with. Doubles Y off week. Do we have any here? Yes, we do. We got more. Guess what? Slot jet sweep action. Got a couple plays there. Y off trips. Do we have any here? Yes, we do. This is your tight end. He's not an H-back, but he's technically a tight end, but this is more tight end motion. You got a zone split, play action, and you even got a read option built on top of that. So a lot of pre-snap motion in this one for it being air raid. You keep on going. Now we have our first halfback swing motion series. We got the swing. We got slant spot. Spot, again, is going to be a big concept in this playbook. And guess what? More Z spot. I'm going to go ahead and click this one on the right. We'll go up against just something random here. So you notice we got a lot of vertical action on one side and a spot concept on the other. Let's see what they call here. Let's see if I can go. That was a bad decision. Double team. Either way, you got some good stuff right there. So if you want a little motion swing with your halfback, you got a few plays to work with right there. Do we got any more in this formation? No. What about trips, tight end, offset weak? Normally, and I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this, but formations like this, where you got pretty much all of your skill players to one side, you're not going to see a whole lot of motion out of these formations. Sometimes you will. It just kind of depends. I'm guaranteeing the Georgia playbook has probably got some of that, but not often. Now we're in the spread. So anytime you get to the true spread formations, you're not going to see as much pre-snap motion. I'm just quickly going through these, just kind of showing you. Again, there's just not a lot of pre-snap motion. But anytime you got a tight end attached to the line of some sort, that's where you're going to find that pre-snap motion more often than not. But it's not always the case with this spread stuff. You go to empty base. Here we have jet touch pass. You keep on going. We have got a little bit more. Guess what? More slot jet sweep stuff. We got a fake screen verts. The fullback or the halfback seam we looked at earlier. It's the same concept. It's just more verticals. Then we got the screen and we got a sluggo built on top of that. I'm going to do this screen. This looks pretty nasty. We'll go up against something like here. So this is, it's not an RPO, but you just have to decide kind of where you want to go, to the slant or to the screen here. I'll probably just go to the screen maybe. Looks like they're going man. Let's see. We'll just go over here, and that's just good defense. I probably should have went to the slant. Either way, good stuff. So notice the bulk of your pre-snap motion in this playbook is this slot jet sweep. So if you like jet sweep, and you especially like it from the slot position, definitely go with this playbook. It's got plenty of it. But we got a little bit more to go with it. So this is the 3 that we looked at, the sluggo, the screen. So again, just a lot of jet sweep, a lot of pre-snap motion for it being an air raid playbook. So let's talk about personnel. We've already hinted at some of this. Starting off, 11 personnel. The bulk of the playbook is going to be 11, like with most spread playbooks. But then we got a few other ones. 23, that's your goal line. 10 personnel. Thankfully, this is an air raid playbook, so it's going to have some 10 personnel. If it didn't, I probably wouldn't use it. But you got spread offset, then you got a couple trips formations. You got basic trips, and you got the offset version of that. So you got 4 to play with if you need to get 4 wide receivers out there. 32 is your QB kneel, 21's clock management, 12, you got plenty of it in here. You got 4 12 personnel formations. So between your 11 personnel, which is the bulk of it, you're going to be calling from, then your 10 personnel and your 12, that'll be your go-to. So with There's no two back looks. A lot of people, when they're running air raid, you're probably thinking Mike Leach is two backs in the backfield. There's none of that in here, but that doesn't mean that you need it either. So again, 11, 10, and some 12 personnel. Let's talk about some concepts. So you notice the play counts. Again, this is a really small playbook. It's probably smaller than the generic air raid playbook I covered like a couple months ago. This one may be a little bit bigger, but let's just start off with the runs. Inside zone, you got 13 of these. That's to be expected. This is your most common run concept in pretty much every playbook. You got 7 counters. So if you're going to have that many counters, you're probably going to have that much power. And guess what? You actually got 12 power plays in this playbook. That's pretty good. You got 6 draws. I actually think this is a low number for it being an air raid playbook because you're going to be doing a lot of drop back passing, but you got 6 of those. You got 8 outside zone. I thought this was kind of interesting. I'm surprised there was this much outside zone. This is typically a not a very popular concept, but it's in here. You just hopefully got to get decent blocking at a lot of these plays. But either way, there's plenty of outside zone if you need to go off tackle and just kind of do your damage from there. So you got inside zone, and then I would do your outside zone. Then you can mix in power and counter if you need it. You do got a couple sweeps, and you got a couple of traps if you still want a little bit more of a pull and guard, but through that A gap. So again, plenty of inside zone. Then I would do outside zone, and if you need any pulling lineman, throw in some power and a little bit of counter. Let's talk about options. So notice there's only 35 quote-unquote option plays in the entire playbook. That's just not a lot. We got 6 peaks. Now, here's the thing with these RPOs. You're going to notice a theme. The most popular theme is, if you look over here on the right, gun Y off trips, look at that X receiver on the left. You're going to see that more often than anything else. It's the hitch/fade route that you see right there. You're going to see a lot of that. So you go through here and you notice RPO zone stick. Now, this is an interesting play. I don't know if I've ever seen this in this game before. I'll go up against like a random dime. I think this is really interesting. So you got stick concept on one side, you got the hitch fade on the other, and then you can just run up the middle if needed. Like, there's nobody up the gut. I'll probably just run this thing. Going to get some easy 5 yards there. That was pretty simple. But either way, I think that's really cool. So this is an air raid playbook. So you got your stick built in, but nice little RPO set up right here. This kind of screams Dana Holgorsen. So I talked about that earlier. Dawson is a Holgorsen disciple. I remember him running a lot of this when he was at Oklahoma State as the offensive coordinator. And I'm talking about Holgorsen. And Dawson actually followed Holgorsen, like with West Virginia and all that good stuff. So again, notice that hitch fade. You're going to see a lot of that in some of these RPOs. But let's go to load option. You only got one of those. You got 12 read options. That's pretty normal in about any type of playbook that's got a lot of shotgun. There's the 1 speed option we just looked at. It even has a triple option play if you want to sprinkle some of that in. But let's go back to some RPOs. So guess what? Look at that RPO read flat. It is that hitch look. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. We'll go up against dime. I'm going to do a blitz. And what I'm going to do is go cover 0. We can go, oops. So this is a problem I have with particular RPOs, especially with option routes. When it's a hitch and a fade, I kind of expected him to go over the top since it was cover 0 here, but it doesn't do that. He goes on a curl. Either way, that's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to point that out. This is going to be the most common route in a lot of these RPOs. But you got a few other things. You got glance routes. You got bubbles and such. But guess what? RPO read screen over there on the right. What do you see? There's that hitch fade. There's some more bubbles. You go to RPO alert. There's 8 of these. RPO alert shock. There you go. You got hitch fade on pretty much on either side right there. That's probably where I would start. Look at that RPO alert bubble in the middle. What do you see? A bubble, and you see that hitch fade again. You keep on going. Guess what? More hitch fades. It is all over this thing. So if you're going to run any RPOs in this playbook, this is where you start. Get familiar with all these hitches and fades. So I've been saying the word hitch several times, and for good reason. If you go over to, we'll talk about medium pass here in a minute, but when you go to quick pass, let's quickly cover these. You got 3 Ohios, you got a scat, you got 11 slants, and what's interesting is besides the 3 spacings, there's only 4 stick plays in the entire playbook, and air raid stick is everything in terms of the quick game, but not in this playbook. So if you really want to get a quick game going, you probably just need to stick with slant. That's what you got most of. But let's go to medium pass. So here's what I want to talk about. Notice we don't have a whole lot of concepts here. Again, it's a small playbook, but curl. So curl, hitch, spot, you're going to see so much of that in this playbook. There are 11 curl plays in this playbook, and it's all different variety, whether it's a curl flat or hitch seam, things of that nature. We got 2 choice plays. Then you got double moves. You got 6 of these. Now, these is a little bit of everything, kind of a wide variety of things. But you go to 3 drives. That's your drag and your dig that's going in the same direction. You only have 1 levels. You only have 4 mesh plays. I thought this was kind of interesting. So again, you don't need 30 mesh plays to feel like you can run plenty of mesh. I guess 4 is good enough, but they're just, I guess, not a big mesh team. And this is a staple of the air raid offense. But you got 4 Salems, you got 1 shake, you got 3 slot cross. This is technically like Y cross in a sense. And you only have 13 smash. This shows you how small this playbook is when you only got 13 smash, because as we all know, smash is usually the most popular medium pass concept in the entire game. But notice what we got a lot of here. Slot fades. What do you see? What have we been talking about? Fades and hitches. It is all over the place. More hitches in that smash corners. And then we got spots, 6 of these. So what is that spot route? That is a little hitch. So you got basic hitch, you got spot, that's like a slant hitch. Then you got those curls. So you're going to go back and forth between all these curls, spots, and then you're going to do some smash with more hitches. So again, just think hitches and curls. Do them over and over and over again. Let's talk about deep pass. We got a little bit more here. We got 8 floods. I would definitely use this because you're going to find out real quickly. There's just not a lot of anything here in terms of the amount. So you got 8 floods. I'm a big flood guy. I'm going to go ahead and select one of these. We'll go Y sail. We'll go up against something random. I love the backside dig and a flood concept on the other. Let's see. I think I threw the hit the button way too hard. But anyway, plenty of flood in here if you need it. But Y sail is an air raid staple. You keep going through here. We got more flood. Again, there's 8 of these. You got some play actions off of that if you need it. I'm going to go ahead and do this play action because this just looks really cool. I think we're going to go against cover 0 here. We're going to do a little pre-snap motion. Take his sweet time. Go through here. Cam Ward over the middle. Good little throw right there. Going to pick up some decent yardage. Just some really nasty stuff right there. But you got plenty of flood to work with. You got 8 of those, and that's technically, again, a high number for as small of a playbook. We got 9 comebacks. So what have we been talking about for all the passing in this playbook? Hitches, curls, hitches, curls. So what's a comeback? That's a deep curls, all that is. So it's just more curls. You got 9 of those. You got 3 daggers. You got 1 divide. You got a couple double digs, 4 double post. And this is going to be your most popular passing concept in the entire playbook, and that's verticals. 16 of these things. A little different variety, just depending on what you're looking for. You got smash verticals. You got trips verticals. And you got your classic all go. And it's just a little bit of everything. Even this, look at the fade stop. What are you seeing there? More curls. You got 4 meals. You got 1 Portland. You got 7 shot plays. These kind of go with the verticals more or less. You got fake screen wheel, things of that nature. Then you got 1 switch. So the biggest bulk of this is going to be your flood, your comeback, and definitely your verticals, and mix in your shot plays thrown in there. Let's talk about play action now. It says we got 14 play actions, but we actually know better. There's more in here, but you got 6 boots and you got 8 slides. So you notice a lot of those formations we looked at. You have the number 1 tight end, in this case, number 8. He is off the line quite a bit. So anytime you see that off the line look, you're going to see that PA slide. So you go back to concept. Notice we got 8 slides. So that's going to be pretty common in this playbook. But we're going to go over to play types and look at that a little bit more. Let's look at screens next. So the screen game is very important in the air raid offense. It's basically the run game, especially if you're running like the Mike Leach version where he just threw the ball all the time. But we got some of these RPOs, these bubbles. We got 11 of these. We've already looked at most of them. Flanker screens, there are 8 of these. And then we got 3 wide receiver mid screens. But if you go over to play type and you go up to pass and you go over to screen, there are 32 screen plays in this playbook. And this doesn't include those RPOs. So you mix all of these in along with those RPOs. You better believe it. The screen game is super important in this offense. I can't stress it enough. And you got a little bit of everything in here. You got your halfback swings, your tight end screens, a slip screen, your wide receiver mid screen, any type of basic screen you could think of. It is in here. You have to make this a priority. Let's talk about that play action. There's technically 32 play action plays in this playbook, and that's kind of a high number for it being an air raid offense. So if you're going to run the ball at all, do your inside zone, your outside zone, mix this stuff in with it. Might as well. You got some good selection of things in here, and a lot of it is those same routes we've been talking about over and over again. Look at all these comebacks that we just looked at. All right, let's go over to your run plays, and we've looked at these in different ways. You got 33 inside handoffs. Again, your run game kind of starts there. And you got your 9 outside handoffs. So this is where you go back and forth. You do not have to do any pulling runs or any gap schemes whatsoever. You do not have to do counter. You don't have to do the power, but you can if you want to, though. It's in there. So you got a couple of pitches. You got your 6 draws. You got 1 fullback run, and you got a couple of QB runs. You notice here the first 2 on the left, gun normal Y off and the gun doubles Y off. It's that same concept, but if you need to run your quarterback a little bit and you don't have to deal with option, well, you got a couple right there to play with. Option, this is not an option playbook. There's only 14 or so of these, but it's pretty much all read option. But that's just kind of it. There's just not much there. But again, it's air raid playbook. It's not a spread option playbook or just basic spread. And last but not least, you got some RPOs, not a ton. You got some reads, you got some peaks, and you got some alerts, but all of them have that same concept. And it's this stuff right here. You either got a bubble or you're more likely to have a hitch fade built into that RPO. So that is it for this playbook. It's a very simplistic air raid playbook, but it's built around certain things. Inside zone, outside zone, all the hitches and curls you could ask for in your RPO and your drop back game. And it's got a little bit of play action, and you can't forget the vertical game. All go in your trips, verticals, things of that nature. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.